your home. We all know that we are going through a strange situation, right? Hope this tough time will be over soon and we'll be right back to our school and enjoy our live classes, right? Leave all your worries because it's a very good day and we're gonna deal with an interesting lesson. Are you all ready? If you are ready, let's begin. Before we go to our lesson, let's watch a video. Are you all ready? We'll be right back after watching the video. What could you understand from the video? What's the video about? Yes, it's about a ship sinking, right? Different types of accidents happen in and around us. Recently, we had read the news about a flight crash happened at Calicut in Kerala. Didn't you read the news? Children, while reading or hearing such mishaps or accidents, have you ever thought of the people who are the victims of such mishaps or accidents and about their mental condition when they come to know that their life's curtain is going to fall or they are going to die? Have you ever thought of such things? You may be thinking that why I am talking about such things, right? Yes, our next lesson is related to our video. See, we're gonna start our second lesson entitled as We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together, written by Gordon Cook and Ellen East. See the title, We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together. Said by someone. Who said this? When and why? We're gonna discuss this in detail. This is our story. About the authors, Gordon Cook and Ellen East both are Olympic sailors. Gordon Cook is the narrator of this story. He sails for the Royal Canadian Yacht Club. Gordon Cook is the son of Stephen Cook and Linda Cook. Background of the story. The narrator, Gordon Cook, he had a war with water and the waves for existence. Lesson 2. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. Written by Gordon Cook and Ellen East. In July 1976, my wife Mary, son Jonathan, 6, daughter Suzanne, 7, and I set sail from Plymouth, England to duplicate the round-the-world voyage made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. For the longest time, Mary and I, a 37-year-old businessman, had dreamt of sailing in the wake of the famous explorer, and for the past 16 years, we had spent all our leisure time honing our seafaring skills in British waters. In July 1976, a 37-year-old businessman and his wife Mary, their children, Jonathan, the boy, 6 years old, Suzanne, the girl, 7 years old, they decided to set sail to go around the world. Set sail means voyage, travel through sea. They just wanted to go around the world through the sea. Okay, they decided to do this. Why they decided to do this? Because 200 years ago, Captain James Cook had made this voyage. So now this 37 years old man, old businessman, he just wanted to duplicate the same voyage made by Captain James Cook. Okay, so he just decided to go with his family, and not only that, crew men also were there. Means many people accompanied him, some his friends and the sailors, other sailors and all, they just accompanied him. But before going around the world through the sea, they just wanted to get rid of the sea fear. Okay, you people know that go around the world through sea means not an easy task. Okay, so what they did, they just did practice for that. First, they wanted to get rid of the fear of water. Okay, for that they practiced in the British waters. Okay, to get rid of sea fear. What they did, they practiced in British water. Means they small voyages they just made through British waters to get rid of the sea fear. Clear? Boat Wave Walker, a 23-meter, 30-ton wooden hull beauty, had been professionally built, and we had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. The first leg of our planned 3-year, 105,000 kilometer journey passed pleasantly as we sailed down the west coast of Africa to Cape Town, where before heading east, we took on 2 crewmen, American Larry Vigil and Swiss Herb Sailor, to help us tackle one of the world's roughest seas, the Southern Indian Ocean.
Parts of the ship. Superstructure. The superstructure is a vertical structure above the upper deck. It is the place where the bridge and the permanent housing is located. Bow. The bow, it is the foremost part of a ship. Stern. The stern is the rearmost part of a ship. Stem. The stem is the most forward part of a vessel bow and is an extension of the keel itself. Stern post. It is an upright structural element that connects the keel with the stern. The keel. It is the main structural element and backbone of a ship. It runs longitudinally along the center bottom of the hull from stem to stern. The rudder. The rudder is a key element in the maneuverability of a vessel. The propulsion of a ship depends on its interaction with the propeller. The propeller. A propeller is a rotating fan-like structure which is used to propel the ship by using the power generated and transmitted by the main engine of the ship. There are ships that can be fitted with 1, 2, 3, or even 4 propellers, depending on the speed and maneuvering requirement of the vessel. Bulbous bow. It is a protruding bulb at the bow that reduces the friction with the water while the ship is underway and increases speed, range, fuel efficiency, and ship stability.
So they practiced the British water to get rid of the sea fear, right? Now they just wanted to set sail to go around the world, right? So they started building a ship. Actually, he says that it's a boat, but that is really a ship, okay, with all facilities. And they just professionally, they built the boat or ship, okay. You don't think that it's boat, okay, with all facilities, it's almost like ship only, but not that much luxurious. So they just professionally built the boat or ship and named as Wave Walker. What's the name of the ship? It's Wave Walker, okay. And listen, 23 meter length and 30-ton weight. That is the weight of the ship, okay. 30-ton weight and 23 meter long, okay. That much big boat with all the facilities like ship. And he named it as Wave Walker, right? Now listen, they just arranged everything. That was a beautiful hull, wooden hull, okay. Wooden hull means he just made this boat with wood, okay. So he made it, and after that they prepared everything to set sail to go around the world through sea. Got it? Now listen, first part of their journey, it took 3 years. I told you in the beginning, which is not easy to go around the world through sea, right? So their first part, that is 1,05,000 kilometer. First part journey means 1 lakh they had to cover 1,05,000 kilometers, okay, that much distance, and it took 3 years to complete, but which went pleasantly. That means safely they just were able to complete the first part of their voyage, okay, which covered the distance 1,05,000 kilometers, okay. And that is to from where to where? Actually, they have started their journey or the voyage from Plymouth, England, okay. So they just started their journey from Plymouth, England, and the first part of their journey, it took 3 years to complete at a distance of 1,05,000 kilometers. And the first part of their journey was really safe, okay, nothing happened. They were just safely were able to complete the first part of their journey. That is, I told you already, they just started their voyage from Plymouth, England, and this distance, that means the 1,05,000 kilometer means that, what is it? They just set sail to west coast of Africa to Cape Town. Means that they started from Plymouth and set sail west part, okay, they just set west to west, okay, west coast to Africa, okay, and reached Cape Town. That is their first part of journey, and it took 3 years to complete. Clear? And now listen, first part over. Now they just wanted to go for the second part of their journey. So that time they were just heading east. All this time they were just going towards west coast, okay. But now they wanted to go east, okay. So they are heading east. Before going to that direction or their second part of journey, what they did, you know, they just took 2 crewmen, expert sailors, okay. They are One is American Larry Vigil and the other one is Swiss Herb Sailor. Okay, so just listen. Second part, they just wanted to go forth. So what they did? They just called two crewmen, okay, two sailors for help because they are heading towards east and they need expert sailors. For that, they asked the help of two crewmen. One is American Larry Vigil, the other one is Swiss Herb Sailor. Why they asked the help of this crewman? Because they are heading to the world roughest sea, that is the Southern Indian Ocean. Means that they have to go through the world's roughest sea, that is the Southern Indian Ocean, for their second part of the journey. For that, they need the help of some expert sailors. That's why they asked the help of this two crewmen. Who are they? Yes, American Larry Vigil and Swiss Herb Sailor. So they got their help to go eastward direction, and that too they have to cover their second part of the journey through the world's roughest sea, that is the Southern Indian Ocean. On our second day out of Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales. For next few weeks, they blew continuously. Gales did not worry me, but the size of the waves was alarming, up to 15 meters, as high as our main mast. December 25th found us 3,500 kilometers east to Cape Town. Despite atrocious weather, we had a wonderful holiday complete with a Christmas tree. New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather, but we reasoned that it had to change soon, and it did change for the worse. They started their second part of journey from Cape Town. Okay, they started moving eastward direction from Cape Town. First day, they were very safe and just went towards the east direction from Cape Town. First day finished, but second day onwards, they started facing strong gales in the sea. Means that strong storm, okay, they started facing. And for weeks, it started blowing continuously. That strong storm was there for weeks, okay. And those who were there in the ship, they were not worried about the strong storm. At the same time, they were worried about the big waves due to this storm. And the waves used to go up almost 15 meters high. You just imagine that big waves, okay, 15 meters high it raises, okay, due to this strong storm. So that worried the people in the ship. Despite of the atrocious weather, means that very bad weather was there in the sea, then also they all enjoyed the Christmas. When is Christmas? Yes, December 25th. They had a wonderful holiday in the ship. They enjoyed Christmas with Christmas tree and all. And they just hope that soon the weather would be alright. That atrocious weather would be alright soon. They thought in that way. But there was no hope at all. Changes happened. Okay, they hoped for the good weather. Changes happened. It changed. The weather changed. But what was the change? It was not favorable. The weather became worse. At dawn on January 2nd, the waves were gigantic. We were sailing with only a small storm jib and were still making 8 knots. As the ship rose to the top of each wave, we could see endless enormous seas rolling towards us. On the screaming of the wind and spray was painful to the ears. To slow the boat down, we dropped the storm jib and lashed a heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern. Then we double lashed everything, went through our life raft drill, attached life lengths, dumped oilskins and life jackets, and waited. On 2nd January, they faced the huge waves, okay. See, the climate became more worse. Their ship started rising up in the high waves. Whenever the ship just raised, they could see the sea rolling towards them. That roaring sound they could hear, the sound of the sea they could hear, and the spray of water was really painful to their ears. They came to know that something is going to happen. They have all the facilities in their ship, but they know that which was not sufficient to prevent this atrocious weather. So they started taking the safety measures. First they took the mooring loop, mooring rope, okay, that means they kept a rope, okay, very long rope, they kept it in the ship. They took that rope and tied the rope across the stern. Means that again if the ship just started rising up, they could hold the rope. For that purpose, they just tied the rope across the stern. And then they pulled the life jackets, oilskin, what are the safety measures they kept in the ship, everything they just took out. Why? Because they came to know that something is going to happen soon. Whether they would be able to prevent this worse weather or whether they are going to face their death, they don't know. Okay, that was the situation on 2nd January. The first indication of impending disaster came at about 6 p.m. with an ominous silence. The wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark. Then came a growing roar and an enormous cloud towered aft of the ship. With horror, I realized that it was not a cloud but a wave like no other I had ever seen. It appeared perfectly vertical and almost twice the height of the other waves with a frightful breaking crest. The roar increased to a thunder as the stone moved up the face of the wave, and for a moment I thought we might ride over it. But then a tremendous explosion shook the deck. A torrent of green and white water broke over the ship. My head smashed into the wheel and I was aware of flying overboard and sinking below the waves. I accepted my approaching death, and as I was losing consciousness, I felt quite peaceful. The first sign of the disaster came at 6 p.m. Evil silence everywhere in the sea. They could observe the evil silence everywhere in the sea. The wind dropped. The sky grew dark. And the crewmen heard the roaring sound. Okay. And everyone, they could see the dark cloud in the sea. At that moment, everybody felt that that's a big dark cloud in the sea. Okay. They thought for a moment like that it's a big cloud. But immediately they came to know that that was not a cloud. It was a huge wave which is rolling towards their ship. Okay. So just listen. In the beginning they thought that it's a huge cloud. But immediately they came to know that which was not a cloud. That was a huge wave which was rolling towards their ship. For a moment, the narrator thought of riding over the large wave. Means that he just wanted to cross that wave. Okay, like that way he thought. And then he started steering over the wave. And immediately the ship just hit somewhere like that way they felt. And the narrator, he just fell on one side. And his head hit somewhere. Okay. And he came to know that everything is out of control, something is going to happen soon. And before he became unconscious, he kept himself peacefully. Unexpectedly, my head popped out of the water a few meters away. Wave walker was near capsizing, her mast almost horizontal when a wave hurried her upright. My lifeline jerked taut. I grabbed the guardrails and sailed through the air into wave walker's main boom. Subsequent waves tossed me around the deck like a rag doll. My left ribs cracked, my mouth filled with blood and broken teeth. Somehow I found the wheel, leant up the stern for the next wave and hung on. So the captain, the narrator, he just lost all the control and he fell on this one side of the ship. Okay, and he was not able to control the ship, and before going unconscious he kept himself peaceful. And see, after some time he became conscious, he got that sense, and when he opened his eyes, he saw that he was just somewhere out of the ship, like that way he felt. Okay, and he just gathered all his strength, and then he wanted to get the control of the ship, or that stern he wanted to get in his hand. Then only he would be able to go forth. That was his plan. So he gathered all the strength and tried to get inside the ship. Means he was just thrown to somewhere, the down deck to the ship. Now he wanted to come where the stern is. He wanted to come there. Why? Because he wants to control the stern. Then only he would be able to go forth. And when he tried it, what happened? His head again hit somewhere. He just felt that his ribs, it's broke, and also he tasted the blood in his mouth. His mouth filled with blood. He felt that. Means that the captain is badly injured. Okay. Water, water everywhere. I could feel that the ship had water below, but I dare not abandon the wheel to investigate. Suddenly, the front hatch was thrown open and Mary appeared. "Where we are sinking," she screamed. "The decks are smashed. We are full of water." "Take the wheel," I shouted as I scrambled for the hatch. Larry and Herb were pumping like madmen. Broken timbers hung at crazy angles. The whole starboard side bulged inwards. Clothes, crockery, charts, tins and toys slooshed about in deep water. Now the ship, it hit that big wave and many parts were broken. The water started coming inside. Okay, water, water everywhere. Even under the ship, inside the ship also they could see water. It started coming inside. You people know that if something happened like this, what would happen? Okay, so everywhere they could see water, and he was just trying to get that stern to control the ship, but he was unable to move. Who was the narrator or the captain? That time a door opened in the ship and Mary came. Who's Mary? Yes, captain's wife. She came inside and said that we are sinking. Everywhere we could see the water. Water started getting inside the ship. Means that, Captain, we are sinking. Okay, something will happen now. Like that she said. That time the captain shouted, "Get the wheel." Means that you just go and control the stern or the wheel. Okay, steering you control. I'm not able to come. Like that he shouted. That time he could see that the crewmen, two crewmen, American Larry Vigil and Swiss Herb Sailor. These two people, they were madly pumping the water out of the ship. Means everywhere water came, and these two men with pumps, water pumps, they started pumping the water. They wanted to remove the water from the ship. For that, they took the hand pumps and all. They started pumping water out of the ship. These all who saw our sailor saw. So just listen, Mary came and she said that we are sinking. That time he asked her to control the wheel. That time the narrator saw that the two crewmen, they were madly pumping the water out of the ship. Okay, why? Because even the mast, dashboard, everything is broken. Through that part, water started coming inside the ship. I half swam, half crawled into the children's cabin. "Are you all right?" I asked. "Yes," they answered from an upper bunk. "But my head hurts a bit," said Sue, pointing to a big bump above her eyes. I had no time to worry about bumped heads. After finding a hammer, skis and canvas, I struggled back on deck. With the starboard side bashed open, we were taking water with each wave that broke over us. If I couldn't make some repairs, we would surely sink. That time only, the narrator, the sailor, he thought of his children. he had two children, okay. Who are they? Jonathan, 6 years old, and Suzanne, 7 years old. Both were there in the children's cabin. So the sailor half swam and crawled. He was not able to stand up. So like crawling or swimming, like he just tried to reach the children's cabin to see his children. And anyhow, he was able to crawl or half swam and then reached into the children's cabin. And his children were there in the cabin. So the sailor asked them, "Are you all right?" So they said that, "Yes, we are all right." At the same time, the girl said that, "I have pain here," like she showed to her forehead, okay. That time only the sailor saw that she had just above the right eye, she had a bumped head, means swelling was there. And that time the sailor was not able to worry over the bum head, okay. He doesn't have time to waste there. So what he did, he just started searching for the canvas, screwdriver or the equipments, okay. Why? Because he wanted to do some repair of the starboard totally broken, and then he wanted to repair something, okay. Otherwise what would happen? Starboard completely collapsed and then water started coming inside forcefully, okay. So that's why what he did, he just took the instruments, okay, for repairing the boat. That time he doesn't have time to worry over his daughter's bumped head. Somehow I managed to stretch canvas and secure waterproof hatch covers across the gaping holes. Some water continued to stream below, but most of it was now being deflected over the side. More problems arose when our hand pump started to block up with the debris floating around the cabins and the electric pump short-circuited. The water level rose threateningly back on deck. I found that our two spare hand pumps had been wrenched overboard, along with the forestay sail, the jib, the dinghies, and the main angle. So he took all that hammer, canvas and all, started repairing the boat. Somehow he was able to repair the boat. He kept the waterproof canvas and all and closed the holes in the starboard. But that time more problem arose, okay. What happened, you know? I told you the crewman, Larry and Herb, they were madly pumping the water out of the ship. And that time the pumps were blocked with debris. Debris means small logs used to come through the waves, okay. You know that in the sea logs will be there, wooden pieces, okay. That also along with the wave it came inside the boat. When they started pumping water, these small pieces of wood, it went inside the pump and pump started blocking. These two crewmen were unable to pump water out of the ship, okay. That was the major problem. People know that if they were not able to pump the water out of the ship, sure, what would happen? Again, they would know that they would sink, okay. So that was the major problem. They were unable to pump water. Why? Because the pumps were blocking. Our sailor came to know that he kept two hand pumps, okay. Why? You know that these people were using electric pumps. And even electric pumps also started short circuit. You know that water comes, short circuit will be there, and because of that even electric pumps stopped working, and then this hand pumps also stopped working. Why? Because of these small pieces of logs. Listen carefully. Electric pumps also stopped working, even hand pumps also stopped working, okay, due to different reasons. And now our sailor came to know that he has one or two extra hand pumps which kept near the D-rings. D-rings means small boats. You know that in the ship they used to tie small boats, okay. When something happened to the ship, they used the small boats to escape, okay. So near that they kept some hand pumps. One or two hand pumps are there. He just searched for that hand pumps, okay. Why? Because immediately they must want to pump the water out of the ship, otherwise surely they would sink. Then I remembered we had another electric pump under the chart room floor. I connected it to an out pipe. and was thankful to find that it worked. The night dragged on with an endless, bitterly cold routine of pumping, steering, and working the radio. We were getting no replies to our mayday calls, which was not surprising in this remote corner of the world. Sue's head had swollen alarmingly. She had two enormous black eyes, and now she showed as a deep cut on her arm. When I asked why she hadn't made more of her injuries before this, she replied, "I didn't want to worry you when you were trying to save us all." That time only the sailor remembered about another electric pump which kept in the chart room. He went to the chart room and took that electric pump. They were really fortunate because that pump started working. So they just again started pumping the water out of the ship. Okay. And that night they were just struggling very hard, pumping, steering, controlling the ship, and also some damage happened to their radios. Through that radio only they just used to get the signals. Okay, where to go, how to go, and all the signals they used to get. Mayday call means signals for help. Through the radio, they used to receive their mayday call or the signals for help, but that radio also was not working, and they started repairing the radio. And that was not that much surprise thing. Why? Because they went to some remote place and they can't expect that that place they could accept the signals and all. Okay. Anyhow, they started repairing the radios, pumping water and steering the ship. Everything. That whole night they struggled very hard. And that time only Sue or the girl came. Even her head became swollen. Okay. The worst injury was there on her head. And she showed a cut in her arm. Okay. Means that the girl got seriously injured. So the sailor asked her, "Daughter, why you didn't tell me about this all?" So the girl immediately replied, "You just think that she's only 7 years old girl?" And she replied that, "Daddy, I don't want to worry you with my small issues because you are trying to save us all. You are just trying very hard to save us all. And you are under pressure. I don't want to trouble you by saying my problems." Like that way, like a matured girl, she spoke. My dear children, this is the first part of the story. Did they escape from the jaws of death or sink in the sea? Do you want to know the climax of the story? Do you want to know? Wait for some time. I'll catch you soon with the second part of the story or the climax. Be safe until we meet again. Thank you for being with me.